Oh, that's something. Hans is 7 out of 7. Yes. Okay. Let's check this game analysis. Let's see if it was 95 or something.
Imagine playing a chess game so good, with a sacrificial finish so amazing that a former world champion has to perform a cheat test to see if what you did was looking legit or interesting, as Vladimir Kramnik likes to say. And then, for the icing on the cake, imagine you do it against the world number 2 in classical chess. That's Fabiano Caruana, one of only 2 players right now over 2800, the other being Magnus Carlsen. Well, wow, what a day you'd be having. This is how pumped you'd be, right? And yes, that's actual footage of Hans reacting to his victory over Hikaru Nakamura, 30th of January 2024, the day that this game was also played. Because Hans Niemann played in 2 Title Tuesday events, the early one and the late one. It's a weekly prestigious Blitz chess tournament. Now this is his round 7 game, early tournament. He's white. What a cracker this is. He starts with e4, and once we've seen the exceptional game, we'll check out Kramnik, head back in with him to see what the game review reveals. Now we see e5 here from Fabiano Caruana. We get these moves on the board and bishop c4. It's the Italian game. Now knight f6 in response, d3, bishop e7. We're not going to linger in the opening. There's so many variations. This is a more modest setup, no bishop c5, but very solid and playable. Both players castle, rook e1, d6 and a4. Gains some space and gives the bishop some retreat room in certain lines. Bishop e6 challenges this strong piece. Yes, white can capture, shatter the pawns, but that actually helps black take control of good squares, open the f-file. So it wasn't played. Knight bd2 supports the bishop. We get captures, knight recaptures, and keep your eye on this knight. We like to talk about the travelling knight on this channel, right? Well, look at the work this one gets through. So rook e8 played. h3, h6, standard little bunny ear moves at the side of the board. c3 played, looking for some expansion in the centre or on the queen side, this flank over here. So a5 stops those ideas in their tracks. Queen b3 activates, pressures b7, but queen d7. Sneaky response. How many of us are falling for this if we don't know the position? There's a problem here. You see this evaluation bar reacting. Minus 4.42 means that black is that much of pawns better with this move of rook. Was that on fb8? eb8, sorry. Trapping the queen, and that's game over. So, the pawn not touched. Hans goes queen b5. We get bishop f8, tucking back. I love these bishop moves and how they open up the rook. Hans does the same in a moment. Now bishop d2 develops and b6. Why is Fabi pushing that pawn when we discussed that it's immune? Why would he weaken this square? Well, after rook a d1, knight b8 played. He reveals his point. If you capture, he's going to bring this one back in, and now this pawn's not hanging. So queen b3, Hans ducks back. He doesn't want to swap the queens. Knight c6, and Hans tucks the bishop back. This is nice grandmasterly chess. Rook a8 centralizing. Queen b5, knight b8, queen b3, knight c6, queen b5. In the words of Hans Niemann, Fabi is begging for a draw at this point. Because yes, Hans has a YouTube channel. He covers his games. He's doing a journey to Grandmaster right now. So check that one out if you haven't done so already. By the way, Hans is not paying me to say that. We've got knight b8 played on the board, again offering this repetition, but now knight a3 from Hans. This knight's getting through some work. Now the computer likes an immediate d5 here, because then you open up here and that kind of thing. But we won't go down that line. Knight c6 played. This knight comes to c2 now, and it's on a journey. d5 from Fabi. Good move. You so often want to break as black if the circumstances permit, i.e. there's not too much pressure on e5 and it's going to cave in. So knight e3 now played. Fabi advances with d4 here. We get the knight hitting f5, knife f5, worth a pawn, as Garry Kasparov used to say. Such a powerful attacking piece from there, especially when h6 has been played. Harder to play g6. Excuse me. And now in response, here we see takes on c3. The pawn recaptures. Nice mobile centre for Hans. He's got some advantage here. Knight e7, looking for exchanges. Now you can actually take this pawn with the queen here, win a legit pawn, and you start seeing some kind of liquidation on f5. But it ruins the white pawn structure a bit. You can swap rooks, and then after knight d5, there's actually a lot of pressure on these pawns here. Won't go down the whole line, so black should win the pawn back. But what we see is takes here. Knight recaptures. Nice symmetry here from Fabi. He's going for that side quest. How symmetrical can you make your pieces? Now we see takes with check. Boo, Hans spoils the party, bishop recaptures, and d4. Thematic break in the centre. Now for so many moves, move after move after move, the computer wants to take. Pawn recaptures and then use this b4 square for the bishop. The rooks get open, and so black's got good play even though white has the central pawns. But Fabi goes for this one, just holding things together. We get king f1, pawn f6, now knight h4, looking at the weakened light squares. Again takes here, the computer loves it for black. But king f7 played instead, knight f5, the bishop tucks back, g4 from Hans, and g6 is actually a top move here to kick away the knight. Yes, you hang a pawn, but it's immune because bishop takes, and then you could go g5, king g6 to come, bishop's trapped. So instead, knight b8 played. g6 was good but missed by Fabi. Now h4 comes, knight c6 and h5, securing the knight outpost. This is a really nice construction. Knight e7 challenges that strong piece. d5 is a very nice pawn structure here. If takes, g recaptures, that's a weak backwards pawn. But instead knight e3, stylistically, Hans loves to keep pieces on the board, I've noticed. You know, hold tension here. Knight c6 played. Now knight d5, target c7. The bishop covers, f3, look at that pawn formation, connects 6. I love these kind of formations you can set up in the king's pawn openings. You know, Spanish game, Italian game, beautiful stuff. Takes on d4, now played, frees up b4, the knight lands. You don't want to let takes here happen, of course, shatter your structure. So knight c3 back, c6 from Fabi, rook e2, and now here Fabi, low on time, he goes wrong. Not in an obvious way, right? But the top move is rook b8, and it makes complete sense. You've got this 3-on-1 over here, or 2-on-1 you could call it. But b5 now coming, you've got the opportunity to create a passed pawn, or open the b file, get counterplay going. You know, you have to get counterplay with those pawns. But Fabi goes rook d7, and watch this. Hans moves now, Hans's moves just flow off the wrist, right? Or mouse if you're playing online. So rook ed8, these ones double. Bishop e7, king e2, bishop d6. You know, Fabi's struggling without a plan. Without a plan here. This is where he struggles in blitz and rapid. Low on time. f4, knight a6, rook c2, bishop b4, knight a2, not allowing the swap. We get c5 now played, but d5 in response. That is one of the longest bathtub formations you will ever see. elongated beauty. Now rook e8 played, the pawn pressured, defended, knight c7, king f3, Hans's moves coming so easy. He's got the space here. Rook e d8 played, and now I love this transition. You're doing well, but how do you proceed? How do you break through? I would never spot this move in low time really. Maybe on some classical game, even then, who knows. But knight takes on b4. Excellent, because after pawn recaptures, then there's a5, and you've just broken up this entire structure. You win back your pawn, and the white ones are rumbling. So knight b5 played, good move. Bishop b6, double attack here. So rook a8 defends the pawn. These ones are dangerous as well, of course, but e5 from Hans, he's ploughing through the center now. e6 check, huge threat to win that rook. So rook b7, sidesteps, hits the bishop, and this is where Kramnik picks up the game. This is where we get the elegant, beautiful, sacrificial finish, starting here with e6 check. King e8 played, not king e7, because you're walking into f5 and d6 check very soon. Now the pawns rumble. 2 connected on the 6th rank is always absolutely fatal. You know, even going to beat out a rook from there if you're material down. Fabi now takes this bishop here, and there's a great finish, but it's not best. Knight takes was better, just giving the piece simply. They're so powerful. Then pushing your own pawns. Whoops, not there. Bishop d4 needed to stop b2, but then you can go a4 or b2. You know, great counterplay for black, but not played. Instead, the bishop captured, and now this is where you just get a great finish. Can you guess the move here? There's actually 2 good moves. You can play it in either order. So the move that Hans slams down is rook c8 check. This is the most flamboyant, swashbuckling, because after rook captures, d7 check, king d8, well, here's the trick. Don't take the rook, king recaptures, push the pawn, because knight c7 comes back and you cover the queening square. Or you could go rook e6 and come behind. Instead, this is the finishing move, pawn e7 check. Fabi resigns the game. Why? Well, the king's got to go somewhere, you know, takes. Well, now you make a queen, and that is a 1 position. King's going to get cut to shreds. It's mate in 7 with best play. Mate in 4, the next 2 lines, right? So this was the position of resignation right here. And now let's cut to the full Kramnik clip so we can see his reaction. Plus, what does the game review tell us about this one?
And who is to move? Rook c8, that's something. Hans is cool. Hans is 7 out of 7. Yes. Okay. Fabiano is, let's check this game analysis. Let's see if it was 95 or something. No, 89.8 only. Okay.
So Kramnik surprised. The accuracy is lower than he thought. And that was a bit of a recurring theme in the 2-hour stream, to be honest, because I watched the whole thing. Sometimes he thinks it will be higher or lower, but it's a great stream. You know, check that one out. It's just fun watching him play. And he reports someone for cheating and then quits the tournament. Rage quit. Classic. Anyway, beautiful game by Hans. So good. Kramnik had to accuracy check. I hope you enjoyed this one. Smash subscribe if you did. And check out the video on screen for the game in which Magnus faced off to Hans, I was about to say Hikaru, for the first time in nearly a year and a half. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon.